Alright, today we're diving into everything we currently know about HENG, PERMANISOR TERRA from the version 3.6 beta, what his kit says, how it actually plays together, where the hype is coming from, where the skepticism is coming from, and how he might slot into real teams. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description. Let's start with the hard text. PERMANISOR TERRA is a physical preservation unit who shields first and asks questions later, but with a twist. His shields scale off his ATK, not DEF. His basic ATK, Aegis Vitae, is simple single-target physical DMG, equal to 100% of his ATK, and the tooltip shows the usual plus 20 energy. The real action begins on his skill, TERRA Omnibus. When he skills, he designates a bondmate. That's the ally he pairs with, and at the same time he provides a shield to all allies equal to 30% of his ATK plus 400 for 3 turns. If your team keeps getting his shields, they stack up to 300% of the skill's base value. The bondmate tag always belongs to the most recent target of his skill, so you can reassign mid-fight if the carry switches. The skill consumes 1 skill point and shows plus 30 energy gained. His ultimate, A Dragon's Zenith Knows No Rue, costs 140 energy and does AoE physical DMG equal to 300% of his ATK. After the hit, it applies another team-wide shield equal to 30% ATK plus 480 for 3 turns, which also stacks to the same 300% cap when refreshed. The ultimate also enhances Soul Dragon, more on that in a second, so that when Soul Dragon takes action, it triggers a follow-up attack that deals the bondmate's type of DMG equal to 80% of the bondmate's ATK to all enemies. That enhancement lasts for 2 Soul Dragon actions, so the follow-ups come from the dragon's turns, not from every bondmate button press while the ult is up. Now the talent of Virtue Forms Unfold ties it together. When someone becomes the bondmate, PERMANISOR TERRA summons Soul Dragon with an initial SPD of 165. Every time Soul Dragon acts, it dispels 1 debuff from all allies and gives the team another shield equal to 15% ATK plus 200 for 3 turns. The game treats these shields as separate sources and allows them to stack with his skill ult shields up to 300% of the skill's value, which is where the "this looks insanely tanky and fast" teams reactions come from. If PERMANISOR TERRA or the bondmate is knocked down, the dragon disappears. His technique, Earthrend, tags a bondmate pre-battle, inflicts daze for 10 seconds on enemies in the overworld, auto-casts his skill for free at combat start, and even passes the bondmate status when you switch characters. There's also a generic attack field entry noting he reduces corresponding toughness at battle start. Standard technique attack stuff. That's the raw kit. Here's what it means in practice. You're looking at a true shielder with multiple stacking sources. Skill shield for everyone, talent shield whenever Soul Dragon acts, and another team shield on ult. Because the stacks cap at 300% of the skill's shield, your skill level and his ATK stat matter a lot. The kit naturally encourages fast turn comps. More turns mean more dragon actions, which means more cleanses and more shield refreshes. And because the ult's enhancement turns Soul Dragon into a follow-up machine for 2 actions, the value spikes when your team can advance Soul Dragon's action or otherwise align high-tempo windows. Now let's address the 2 biggest debates the community is having. First, is this just Aventurine 2.0? You'll see takes ranging from Holy Aventurine power creep to side grade at best. Aventurine brings effect RES and a strong single-target control-type debuff pattern with frequent follow-ups when your party is hit. PERMANISOR TERRA instead leans into AoE shields on demand, cleansing on the dragon's action, and bondmate-based follow-up damage that scales on the bondmate's ATK and inherits their damage type. So, on paper, it's not a straight copy, more like a different flavor of preservation that wants proactive tempo and ATK investment rather than def stacking and getting hit. The second debate is ownership and synergy. Multiple commenters argue Soul Dragon is a summon. Think Jing Yuan's Lightning Lord, Topaz's Numby, Lingxia's Rabbit, rather than a Remembrance-style memo sprite. That matters because some players are hoping the bondmate becomes the summon's owner, which would unlock Sunday's full summon buffs. The beta text does not explicitly confirm ownership transfer, but several people point to a rumored light cone description that says the wearer's ultimate grants redoubt, increasing allies' DMG and giving extra DMG to targets that have summons, implying PERMANISOR TERRA might be able to attach a summon to an ally. Again, that's unconfirmed V1 chatter, cool if true, but we need gameplay proof. What about Finon? Early speculation tried to crown PERMANISOR TERRA as Finon's best sustain. The reactions you shared are split. One camp says he's made for Finon because the dragon's follow-ups use the bondmate's ATK and the all-ally shields keep Finon safe while the team rushes. The other camp notes that Finon's ult windows involve so many actions that shields can peel off mid-window anyway. And, this is important, Finon doesn't actually need a sustainer in current high-end teams. Those folks argue Ceridra still gives more raw damage through skill duplication and better self-buffs, while PERMANISOR TERRA feels like a solid general sustain rather than a harmony replacement in that specific comp. I'm personally in the middle. If the bondmate ownership angle is real and Sunday fully recognizes the summon on your carry, suddenly this turns into a weird but powerful triangle. PERMANISOR TERRA for safety and unlocks, Sunday for percentage steroids, Phanon for turns. If not, he's still a great free. Many assume he'll be free, but it's not announced. Preservation option who won't grief your turn economy. That brings us to other synergies. The kit screams, make a fast attacker your bondmate. I see lots of optimism for Fei Xiao in pure fiction, because every dragon action means follow-up DMG into all enemies, and Fei Xiao pumps out actions like a machine. Archer and Anaxa also look natural because they spam skills and turns. Several people even did napkin math like 160% times 4 plus 80% times 4 to estimate big mixed AoE plus single target totals. If Soul Dragon acts multiple times, interesting, but that's theory craft until we know action economy and hit counts precisely. Robin and Jing Yuan get shoutouts too since the follow-ups use the bondmate's ATK, and those two push high ATK scenarios. On the DOT side, there's a nice argument for Kafka plus Hycelin's Islands. You get team cleanse, proactive shielding, and you don't need to juggle healing turns. There are also very real concerns. Multiple players noticed his base ATK looks low for an ATK scaling shielder, and his minor stat traces include DF and HP, which don't help his shield strength if the shields scale only on ATK. The bondmate cleanse timing isn't on his skill. It triggers when Soul Dragon acts, so you might not be able to clear a stun immediately unless the dragon is about to move or you can advance it. His follow-up window after ult lasts only 2 dragon actions, which prompted some "is that it?" reactions, and the big monetization fear. Early talk suggests Eidolon 1 adds Res Pen, and Eidolon 2 supercharges the dragon, which has people calling E1/E2 whale bait. We've even got jokes that E1's strongest perk might slide into the base kit by the end of beta, because that's happened before. Again, none of the Eidolon specifics are locked right now, so file that under community speculation. Since we're talking patterns, a quick history lesson for newer players. HoYoverse has a track record of building free 5-star characters that are safe but not busted at E0. and then nudging players toward a signature light cone or E1 for the full experience. Think of how much stronger certain supports get once their cone lands, or how often a typical E1 is res pen. The Bondmate and Soul Dragon names are also probably not final. Commenters are already memeing on Buddy and Bob, so don't be surprised if localization cleans them up later. Another pattern: preservation with ATK scaling is rare, which might be a deliberate way to sell a new cone. There's already chatter that common preservation cones like Landau's Choice or Texture of Memories won't help his shields much if they really key only off ATK, while a rumored signature cone grants ATK, shield effect, post-ult healing, and a redoubt team buff that gets even stronger if an ally has a summon. Cool design if it ships, just not confirmed yet. Where do I land after walking through the kit text and the reactions you shared? First, the foundation looks good. Team-wide shields on skill and ult, a clean stacking rule, a reliable cleanse tied to a very fast SPD 165 summon, and an AoE follow-up window that scales on your carry's ATK. That's a plug-and-play sustain for a lot of accounts, especially if you missed Aventurine. Second, the ceiling depends on two unknowns: whether summon ownership sits on the Bondmate, which would supercharge Sunday lines, and how often you can make Soul Dragon act in practice. If action economy is favorable, and some leaks mention energy restore and action advance baked into Eidolons, again unconfirmed, he'll feel much more than just a shielder. If not, he'll still be a very comfortable general sustain, with a real chance of being free, which for many players is already a win. I'll wrap with a question for you. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.